Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Elite Brick Force video. Today is a different kind of video than we usually do. It is the ultimate Slave One, the ultimate Starship comparison and review. So what we have here in front of you guys today is quite the lineup, as you can see. I'll just go in order from newest to oldest, I suppose. So here we have Jango Fett Starship that released in 2025. This is the Slave One. This is also the Slave One, and this is also the Slave One, and it's really old. Here we have Jango Fett Starship. This is an Ultimate Collector's Series set that just came out May 1st, 2025. I think by far the most in-depth Lego set I've ever built, as far as crazy techniques and small parts and whatever. The figures are okay. I'm sure many of you know that there's some pretty big controversies with them, especially with Boba Fett, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But just overall, I mean, the model is fantastic. We'll go over some features. It's got the rotating wings for when it lands. The cockpit itself comes out, which is super cool. You can fit 3 figures there and 2 more below it, so a total of 5 figures can fit in this, which is super cool. That is pretty much it. There's a little bit of storage up in here. Possibly my favorite feature of this set is the loading ramp. So this is something that I've never thought about with the other Slave One sets, but this one has it, and it is in Episode 2 Attack of the Clones whenever you watch it. It's super accurate, actually. So all you have to do is push down on this, and it opens up the door and drops the little ramp. So that happens whenever Boba Fett runs into the ship. And then to close it, you just push down on the door, and there it goes. So yeah, that's super cool. One major downside to this set that I noticed when I was building it. So as you can see, no, I did not take a bite out of this set, although I was pretty tempted. Here's bag 6, or where it should go. As you can see, the other side is complete, and then this side is not complete. See a little bit of the structure inside, which is kind of cool to look at, but not for a finished product. So this set did just have a complete missing bag 6, which is pretty unfortunate. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty big knock on this set. An incomplete build is not something that you want to have on a set of this scale. So for Jango Fett, first of all, it's easily the best Jango Fett we've gotten, most accurate at least. The helmet print is super good, except on mine it is slightly misprinted, slightly shifted up. But yeah, his guns are the same ones he's had for years. The jetpack is new, gunmetal gray rather than silver. Probably would prefer the silver. It's debatable whether or not it should be gray or silver. But yeah, his face is super cool. Brand new face print, both sides. And he comes with an awesome hairpiece that looks really good that you can put on him without the helmet. The only nitpick I have for Jango Fett is his legs and his arms. The undersuit are actually kind of the wrong color. They should be darker if you compare it side by side with the movie Jango Fett. Onto young Boba Fett here. I think there's pretty much like 1 out of 900 things that they got correct on this figure. He of course has the updated skin tone to match the clone troopers of the 2020 era, and he has the light blue clothes like he should, but his arms are kind of the wrong color. He's just a complete mess. He also has the same issue of the wrong color arms, except it's way more noticeable on him because it looks like he's wearing a onesie a little bit. His hair is just completely inaccurate. His belt is kind of the wrong color. It should be like a dark blue, like a really dark blue or black, which they've gotten right in previous years. And yeah, the Boba is just an overall letdown for this set, so that kind of sucks. This is the Ultimate Collector's Series Slave One. This is Boba Fett's ship, obviously, from 2015. This was, fun fact, my first ever Ultimate Collector's Series set. The build is super amazing. The figures are pretty much all you could want, all you could ask for. One different thing is the cockpit inside. You can rotate it, which is accurate to Boba Fett's ship. One main thing that Jango Fett's did not have that I really wish it did was right here. These kind of fold out, these side panels. The other one does the same. So you have some missiles and some guns. Kind of interesting that Jango Fett's does not have that, because in episode 2 you actually see the guns fold out in the movie. Boba Fett's never does that, but it's cool that they included it anyways. The cockpit on this one is kind of annoying to get off. You have to pull it up rather than straight off like Jango Fett's, and it's Technic, so it's kind of hard to get back on. looks pretty nice all the way around. The thrust is the wrong color. Technically, it should be orange. Jango Fett's got that right, which is good. So here it is off its stand. That's one of my favorite things about these sets is you can display them landed and they look really good, or on their stand and they look really good as well. This one is a little bit different. It does not have the function where you push the ramp down. You know, that's not really expected for something 10 years old. But this one, for the door, it does function still. You just pull it up, and it has a little clip in there to put Han Solo and Carbonite on. That is pretty much it for that, so we'll get right into the figures. We'll, of course, start with Boba Fett. This is easily the best one we've gotten, and the printed arms, of course, look really nice. Next, we have Han Solo and Carbonite. We've seen this many times before. I don't really think there's anything that should be changed about it, so I'm really glad it was included, and that it can be stored in the ship, so that's cool. And then here's Han Solo up next. Pretty bare bones figure, as well as the next two, but it did come out in 2015. So this is the Bespin guard. He looks really cool. I like the blue and the gold accents. And this is the Stormtrooper that everybody loves. This is the peak design, I think, of Stormtroopers. So the figures in this set, 10 out of 10, honestly. Next up, we have one of the most coveted LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. This is Jango Fett's Slave One from 2002 with the classic Jango Fett. You've seen him in things like LEGO Star Wars, the video game. That's pretty cool. He's a super cool figure, has the old Mandalorian helmet, jetpack mold, of course. And beside him, we have Boba Fett. But we'll get into the figures later. We're going to talk all about the build real quick. So first up, one thing you might notice is that it is standing, kind of like the Ultimate Collector Series ones, but this one does not have a stand. It just has a cool little feature where I guess if you just sit it like this, it'll stay. So that's cool. One other big thing you might notice is that I actually was not able to find all the pieces to complete this build, so that stinks. I'm gonna have to dock it a couple points for that, for having some missing pieces, which seems to be a running theme between Jango Fett Slave Ones. But yeah, so I don't have all the pieces for it. I'm still looking around for them. But yeah, so it looks kind of, you know, has some gaps here and there because of that, but everything that is there is really nice. Yeah, there's some cool features here. The guns move still. There's a little bombing function. If you lift this thing, little bomb can drop out. There's some cool storage right here, along with some missiles and the engine or something. And the cockpit can rotate, as well as the wings, if they were attached. The back looks pretty bare. That's to be expected with a set this old. So, oh, this one also has the fold-out guns as well. And they fall off like that. But yeah, at least they're there, unlike the Ultimate Collector Series one. So that's pretty cool. First up, we have Jango Fett. Now this is easily the most expensive Jango Fett out there, the most sought after. He's pretty cool. It has like the kind of off purple arms. I don't think they make that color anymore. So, and then he has his little revolver blaster. Again, missing one of them, so that sucks. But yeah, super cool figure. Next up, we have Boba Fett, which, another running theme with these Jango Fett Slave Ones is just a bad young Boba Fett figure. This one doesn't even have a head or legs, also because I couldn't find them. But what's good is, with this figure, this old one from 2002, this 23-year-old figure, I think from what is here currently, I think it is more accurate than the complete figure from 2025. If the rest of the figure was here, it would be just way better than the new one, honestly, even with the yellow skin. Last up here, we have Boba Fett Slave One. This is the first Slave One ever created from somewhere between 1999 and 2000. So this is an old one. It's charming, I suppose. You know, this is back when the 2x4 brick was the most common piece in LEGO. So yeah, this one has the guns. They also move, but individually. And it has the little loading ramp. It's not much, but it's there. And also, there's no stand. There's no way to stand it up. The wings do move actually really nicely, I think. The cockpit is okay. Boba Fett just sits in there. And that is pretty much all the features. Pretty much just put Boba Fett in there and move the guns. That's pretty much about it. That's the back. Super bare bones. Just got the thrusters there. Which, funny enough, are the proper color, unlike the Ultimate Collector Series version. You know, you just look at it and you just think that's just classic LEGO, and I kind of like it for that. Obviously, it doesn't even come close to holding up to today's standards, but for what it is, it's really cool, and it's it's really nice to have just a classic set here in studio. Onto the figures here, we have the classic Boba Fett. This was the first ever Boba Fett released, and I really just love this figure. It's super cool. Obviously not much detail at all, just very minimal printing, but just overall a really nice figure. Han Solo in carbonite, but this is the brick built one. Not brick built, it's just a brick with Han Solo printed on there. I think it looks pretty cool. I think one of the major takeaways for me from filming this was just the obvious progression that LEGO has had all the way starting in 1999 now to 2025, still going strong, just from the quality of their builds and the creativity that they have, and just what they can do with the LEGO brick is incredible. I'm going to go through and do a quick ranking from my favorite to least favorite, or best to worst, however you want to see it, of these 4 sets. In last place, I'm sure you guys saw this one coming, is the Ultimate Collector Series Jango Fett Starship from 2025. The Jango Fett is immaculate, but the Boba Fett is just like... And the build, of course, is incomplete. Again, LEGO sold me an incomplete build, so that's, I mean, number 4 spot for a $300 set that's incomplete. Pretty unacceptable for my standards. So yeah, that's why it's going to be at number 4 pretty solidly. Up next, in third place, we have the 2002 Jango Fett Slave 1. This is the one with the original Jango Fett. Even though, of course, the build is incomplete for that one as well, you know, the figures pull it out ahead. Up next, we are going to do the Slave 1, of course. Also Boba Fett's, the original Slave 1. You know, the build is kind of eh. The Boba Fett is really cool, and the Han Solo and Carbonite is super cool as well. Nice and classic. Number 1 favorite has to be the Ultimate Collector Series Slave 1. From 2015. At least that build has all the parts, so that is why it nudges out in first place. And of course, the figures are just 10 out of 10 amazing. So no flaws with that set, honestly, in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a great time filming this. Of course, it is fairly different from my normal content. Of course, there's a bunch of Slave ones that I don't have here. They're all the Boba Fett ones, but I think I wanted to start with the original editions and then the Ultimate Collector Series editions, just to show both ends of the spectrum. So yeah, check us out on Instagram and you can be notified of our videos every day when we do upload. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Sleep tight, Bricksters.